Hey, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Emily Summer, and today we are going to talk about what you should do right after you get engaged. So many of my clients come to me with absolutely nothing planned yet, and they're just freaking out like, what in the world do I do first? How do I even start? And this is totally normal, by the way. If you haven't planned a wedding before, you're not expected to know how. So first of all, the number one thing you should do right after getting engaged is celebrate. Don't feel like you have to rush into making some big crazy announcement and telling your entire world, posting it on social media the minute it happens. Just take a breath and take the time to really just enjoy this moment with your fiance, because this is only for a short time of your life, and before you start wedding planning, you really should take the time to just relish in the moment with your partner. Sure, tell your parents, tell people that are close to you, but don't feel like you have to immediately jump into announcing it on Facebook, changing your Facebook status, and picking a date. That being said, as soon as you do announce it, everyone is going to ask you one question. When's your wedding date? Have you picked a date yet? So, once you've taken some time to celebrate with your loved ones and enjoy just being newly engaged, the second thing you're going to want to do is figure out a date. This could be a process, but sit down with your partner and look at a calendar for the next year or the following year and find a date that works for both of you. Now, there'll be a whole nother video on how to choose your wedding date, so I'm just going to keep it brief here. But basically, the typical timeline currently for a modern day wedding, I would say, is anywhere between 9 and 12 months. That's pretty standard. I see a lot around the 18-month mark, and I've done a few on 6 months or less, but I would say the sweet spot of picking a wedding date is 9 to 12 months from the time you get engaged, or from the time that you're ready to start the planning process. This gives you a nice window for choosing your vendors, making sure you're not doing things last minute, but also allowing enough time to sort of settle and figure out what you want to do before actually having to tackle all of the checklist items. Once you've picked a date, the next thing you want to do is to just sit down with your partner and talk to them about your vision. Now, if you're female, like me, there's a chance that you've probably thought about this once or twice before. And there's a good chance that your partner probably hasn't. So this is the time to just sit down and talk about maybe all of the things that you've envisioned for your wedding day, or things that you'd like to see, the certain style, vibe, theme, all that sort of thing that you sort of envision for your day. A good thing to touch on here is, do you want to have a small or a large wedding? And that's something that I find a lot of couples have the hardest time agreeing on in the beginning, is how many people to invite. So that's probably one of the first things to nail down with your partner is, do you want to do a small intimate wedding, or do you want to have a larger wedding and invite all those extended family members, all your friends from college that maybe you haven't seen in the last couple of years, but you know that you want them at your wedding day, those sorts of things. And then you want to figure out, do you want to do inside, outside, winter, summer, sort of the overall vibe of your wedding. If you've picked a wedding date, then obviously this will help determine the season that you're going to get married in, and that will probably come with a lot of more ideas on the certain style or theme that you might have for your wedding. So after you've taken some time to sit down with your partner and talk about one another's visions and how you foresee your wedding day, please, 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 please set a budget. So many clients come to me without any budget for anything, and sometimes that's okay. If you're not super worried about the budget, or if you're not paying for your wedding, then maybe this isn't as much of a priority for you. But having a budget is going to help you so much moving forward when it comes to choosing your vendors, your venue, and basically all of the large ticket items that you're going to have to make decisions on moving forward. Again, this will be a video for another time. In fact, if you want me to make a video on all about budgets and how to make one and what you should budget for, comment below and let me know. That being said, if you don't know how, or if you don't want to make an entire fully categorized budget sheet, at least have an idea of a budget for these main items. 1, Have an overall budget for your entire wedding from start to finish. 2, have a budget for your venue. There's most likely going to be a lot of venues for you to choose from, and knowing your budget is going to help narrow down your decisions when it comes to selecting that right venue. Also have a budget for your photographer. Wedding photographers are probably the most saturated vendor when it comes to weddings, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It gives you a lot of options and a lot of variety to choose from and lots of different styles. However, prices range all over the board for wedding photographers. So knowing where your budget is and being able to find a selective photographer that sits pretty comfortably within that is going to help you a lot in narrowing down that decision as well. The other one I really encourage couples to have a budget for is your florals and decor, because this is going to play a large part into, especially into my job when I'm planning weddings, is what to select for decor, what to style for with all of the florals and that sort of thing. So whether you're a budget guru or not, at least having these items, an idea of budgets for these items, is really going to help you moving forward. So obviously there's a lot more steps in actually planning a wedding, but these are the main things that I like to tell my clients to do right away, or right when you're ready to start planning the process. The planning process. That's going to really set you up for success. Hopefully you found this helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe for more wedding planning videos, and we'll see you next time.